Wait, so is this a recorded podcast, or is it?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Or is it
audio
live?
recording coming through there? We got video in there.
Oh, we're not live.
Oh,
No, we're not live.
yeah.
We're doing it seasonally. So
Oh, yeah.
I'll record the whole thing and then I'll release it weekly.
Yeah. Eat.
Eight.
Eat. Bruh.
Yo. How's my mic? Fuck yeah, it's the one.
How's that? Yeah, cool. That's pretty good.
You ready?
Yeah, I think so. Alright. Guess we need to press record. And
Over
then
there?
Off we go, yeah.
Do you want to press the record button?
Yeah. Which one is it?
So it looks like the mouse is already hovering over it.
It's the red one at the top.
Yeah.
The circle.
Try not to trip over it.
You're doing great.
Is it already?
Yeah. On.
Check. 1, 2. Alright, and then what about the video?
Yep, she's gone.
She's gone? Okay. When are you
It
ready?
feels like there's something like about to happen, you know what I mean? Before it starts.
Yeah, bro.
Alright. Well, welcome to Onza, episode 1. We here. It's official. We made it. Shout out to my boy. We got him in the building, Mythic MC.
Wait, real quick, bro. You're gonna have to restart. You gotta get close to that mic, bro. It's not gonna be picking up anything from there.
True.
Yeah.
Alright.
Here's a suggestion as well. Do it like this, so that you can face me when you ask me a question. You know what I mean?
Good call.
Yeah. Alright. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Onza, episode 1. We made it. It's finally all a go. Lots and lots of preparations going into this. We're pretty much just going to be talking about the scene, getting to know the boys, getting to know who's doing it. We've got a lot of up and comers. Australian hip hop is on the fucking rise. The whole street scene's on a rise. It's be good to get to know everyone. This is my main man over here, Mythic MC.
Hello,
What up,
man.
boy?
Oh man, I'm feeling good, man. Thank you for having me. I
No.
appreciate it.
Dude, my pleasure. My pleasure. How's your day been so far, bro?
Oh, it's been pretty good, man. I had a mad sleep in, so that's alright. We here.
Lazy day on a Wednesday. Word. What's been happening with you? What's the day in the life of Mythic?
Oh man, day in the life is crazy, man. It's always crazy. I mean, today's been chill, obviously. Slept in, and now we're here. We're in the studio. We're recording the Onza podcast. Word up to my boy Mav. But besides that, man, a day in the life is pretty much talk to my producer, MKC. Not about music production, just about life.
Shout out MKC.
Yeah, shout out MKC, of course, always. And then, I don't know, man, cook some food, write some music,
Yeah,
do some
fuck
exercise,
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
You've always been a guy that like makes time to write music. It's almost like an exercise for you.
Yeah, man, 100%. You know, like, what do athletes do? You know what I mean? Athletes train every day. You know, they go out, they exercise, they work their muscles. You know, for an MC, our muscles is our brain to write words. Our pen is our weapon. All that. So
True
keep
that.
training.
I was talking to OGs like around the start of last year, and they were saying like you have your carpenters. They grab their tools, they learn their tools, but like you got to treat your craft like that. Like if you're rapping, you gotta buy your own mic. You don't go to work without your tools. If you're gonna do that, if you gotta get qualified to be a carpenter, you gotta make time with that pen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%, man. That's true. Whoever said that to you, man, is a very smart person.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shout out Checkmate.
Yeah.
Shout out Checkmate.
Oh, OG.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
OG.
talking OG.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
talking OG. For real. Yeah, what's on for the career for you? What's been happening? I remember you just been on Kiss FM.
Yeah.
Real
man.
recent.
Yeah. So shout out to Sam Ellis, Rise Records, man, sorting that out. He's my boy. He's been looking after my publications and all that. So yeah, we were on Kiss FM. We were live on Monday night. So basically, we just had an hour to showcase the Storm EP that I released on January 17th on my birthday. Yeah, so we basically just went in to chat about that and bust a freestyle. So it was good fun.
Yeah, I went to the Storm EP launch. That was crazy, man. I seen faces that I haven't seen in forever. Everyone was showing love. You killed that stage. You were rocking that shit.
Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, it was good, man. That was. I'm tempted to say that was the best night of my life, man. Like so far.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Your mum was even wearing the Mythic shirt. Shout out Mumsy.
Shout out Mumsy.
Yeah,
Shout out
she was
Felicity.
rocking.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was down in Chadston. That was a big motherfucking venue.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Matthew Flinders Hotel, man. Yep. Also, shout out to Rob Thomas, man, for booking the venue. Anthem Entertainment, Anthem Sessions, couldn't have done without you.
Shout out to all the homies. So when did you end up getting started?
When did I get started? Damn, bro. I think I wrote my first rap, like the very first time I said, alright, I'm gonna write a rap, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was just before I turned 18, so I just finished school, and around about that time, everybody's questioning, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do with our life? Do we wanna go to uni? Do we wanna, go work a job, chase a career, all that, I was like, alright, I'm gonna pick up the pen and pad.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So that was what, 6 years ago now?
Damn, it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah, bro.
We used to be spinning raps in your bottom room, like the basement. You know what I mean? Straight out the basement. Like, you know what I mean?
3106 basement, man. That's where it all used to happen. If we weren't there, we were up the road at Matt's house.
Oh, yeah, causing mischief around Tempe. You went to Pines VCAL though. And that was like, when you finished Pines VCAL, like, because they don't really tell you, like, what you're going to do. They don't really, like, a lot of those kids were just like mad, like, a lot of them went into like different directions. I haven't heard from them in forever.
Yeah, straight up, man.
And then I look at you and you're just killing it, bro.
Well, it's what you decide to do with your path. You know what I'm saying? Like one of our good friends whose company we were recently in, Komodo, he said, your story is you're in control of your story. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what your story is previously. You have control of the future. So. Yeah, man, that was the ideology I took on when I finished school, and now we're here.
Yeah, that's true. Life's just a choice.
100%.
Like everything's just choices. That took me a long time. You actually taught me that. You taught me a lot. Yeah, this guy was the big bro. Serious, just dropping knowledge.
Yeah. For a bit of a backstory, me and Matt have been friends for what, 8 years or something?
Oh, ages. Like this is episode 1. We're just testing it out, and that I thought I'd get my big bro on. We're just testing the waters at the minute, but yeah, we're pretty much just gonna be chatting, talking about the scene, and it's just gonna be like two mates kicking back so far.
Yeah.
Dude, your car's still going hard too. Yeah, serious. How long you had that one?
Bro, I've had that. That's my first car, man. So I got it before I turned 19. I got it when I was still 18, and I'm 24 now, and it's still kicking. I spent probably 3 times the amount on fixing it than I did on the entire cost of the car. But that's how it is, That's how it is with your first car. But
you want to go into your first car. Like, what were the first couple of days looking like for you on the road?
A lot of speeding. lots of flat foot. Lots of just slamming it in second. All that. My manual drivers will know what I'm talking about. I don't know. The most enjoyment we got, like myself and my friends got out of that was like, on the way back from a big night or something. Like I don't really drink, so like I never really was driving drunk or none of that. Like for those of you young ones listening or any age, don't be driving drunk. Don't be doing that. So I was always a designated driver on the way home from the party, and we'd always stop and rip it in a couple of gravel car parks or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
fuck yeah, we did. Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. I remember. Oh, I spent a couple times in the boot actually of that car. I think everyone did a couple rounds in the boot in that car. Yeah.
I think my brother was the resident boot. the boot resident.
It ended up being like a clown car. You'd look inside and you'd be like, oh, Dean popped up, and it'd be like 8 motherfuckers jumping out of the car, like out of the boot, out of the thing, out of the front. Dude, back in the fucking day.
Yeah, man, back in the day, huh?
Dude.
I do miss those days, man. Even though I'm happy with how we've grown as people, as artists, as professionals, I do miss those days still.
Dude, we're getting older.
Yeah.
I've seen little hazes up in Tempe.
Oh, man, no, that's not. No, we can't go there.
So you moved from Tempe. What's that like for you?
Oh, man, look, like, I miss the 3106. Hundy, man. Like, I always come back as much as I can to hang at the Pines or, see Widows or see JD or DJ, shout out to the boys, the 3106 boys.
Yeah.
I miss it a lot. But look, man, like, when you move out of your hometown, that's when you know that you have to make moves, because that's it, you don't have your old school homies around anymore. You can't live in the memories, you can't live in the past. Like, you've made a move now, you're on your own. Like, even if you have friends that still live close, I didn't move that far, I moved half an hour away, just past Ringwood or whatever, but like, still, instead of it being a 5-minute drive to see my homies, it's now a half an hour drive. And if I'm doing something, then I am making it a half an hour drive. So it means I've got to be filling my time with productive things and, trying to grow up and all that.
How was that transition for you?
Damn, man, that's a big story. So like, I won't go all the way into it, but I'll just tell you this, right? So like, basically why I moved and how that transition came along was I was going through a real hard time. Some personal shit was really going down that I was really struggling with. And I wasn't feeling like I could go to my family about it. Even though my family have always been supportive, I just wasn't in a position in my own head, in my own heart, that I felt like I could go to them for support with the situation that I was in. So there ended up being a bit of drama at my house to do with that, at my family's house. And I just said, you know what, I gotta go. So I just moved into my grandma's house, and for the first few weeks it was a bit rough, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, first time I've moved out of my parents' house, I'm on my own, I've got my own responsibilities, you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my gran, of course. But
shout out gran.
yeah, you know, she 88 years old, she trooping, so, you know, I'm not going into her house expecting her to be my mum, so, you know, I gotta be an adult, I gotta step in, so that's, you know, that's the resolution of how that went, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, it's a big transition, dude.
Yeah.
For real, that's a big step. Like, and you're teaching youngins at the moment as well. Like, all that, like you live it, so you can drop that knowledge for people. So it's not really like coming from a place where they don't know, because there's a lot of people out there that'll give you advice and stuff, but like, it's like you can't relate. So like you come from that place, and you can feel it as well in your raps.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that's come across, man, for sure. You know, like, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the past few years for me, even since I was a teenager, that, you know, your choice would be for that kind of stuff not to happen. But at the same time, I don't regret any of that stuff happening. I don't regret any bad decisions that I could have made that would have led me into those situations, because, you know, like you said now, like, I've learned and I can be a person who can relate to younger people, and I can teach them, you know, hopefully they can learn something from my experiences.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
What raps were you smashing at the time? Because I find like, when I'm in like different stages of my life, I find I have like an artist or a song that like kind of like signifies that moment. When I think that moment, I remember that song, or that song makes me remind me of that time.
Sure, yeah.
Where were you at?
Oh, man. So, yeah, there would have been a few different songs, right? So, like, Bliss and SO have always been pretty big, pretty high up on my playlist, as well as Horror Show, as well as a few other Australian hip-hop artists. But I'm going to say, like, Reflections. Bliss and SO was a big one for me growing up, and trying to learn lessons, because that's, you know, like, how you learn about yourself is by looking back at the past decisions that you made and evaluating why you did that and where that led you. So, you know, I've got to say no more Reflections, bro, like, say less.
Dude, straight up. And Bliss and SO have been on the same path too.
Yeah.
They're mad relatable. I was listening to Act Your Age the other day, and I was like, fuck, dude, I'm turning 23 in a bit, like, you know what I mean? And it just started getting real, and but like then I started like jamming to it, because it's kind of like it's almost like a hypocrisy, like, you know what I mean? Like, act your age, but like, you know, fuck that, man. Like, do what you love.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I've seen so many people just walking around and doing what they love, so I'm glad like you're getting up and doing it on stage.
Yeah.
Any shows and stuff coming up for you?
Yeah, man, for sure. Always, man. I always try and have a show loaded. Like, if I don't have a show coming up, I'm doing something wrong. But 2nd of April, I'm playing at Laundry Bar for Greetings from Laundry. New Wave Infinity on the lineup.
Oh, shout out New Wave Infinity. We'll get those boys up there in here too.
Yeah, massive movement right there. And then 16th of April, I got Whole Lot of Love with my man Fruity Lex, man. Shout out to Fruity Lex.
Oh,
he's the dude, he's the man.
He's doing big things as well. What's he doing at the moment? He's like using his rapping skills to go out into different communities and be able to express his story of like mental health, and like get people to talk their story about that as well. Like being able to express yourself. He uses it through rap, and he's trying to teach other people to kind of do the same thing through their own expressions.
Yeah, man, he does a lot of that, man. Fruity Lex he's someone who, like, if you're looking to actually do something to impact people with your raps, that you should look to Fruity Lex for an example. Because, you know, like, a lot of us rappers are out here rapping because we want to make a career out of it, and, you know, we want to express ourselves in a creative way, and we want to advance our skills in some kind of music or something like that. But I think Fruity Lex, if I could just speak for him for a minute, apologies my bro if I get it wrong, but I think that he's the man that is using his rap and his music ability to actually make an impact on someone, on people, and that's higher of a priority for him than actually getting anywhere with a rap career. So that's, you know, massive respect for that.
That's deep. I saw him at Lentils. You know that joint? You remember Lentils?
Lentils, man. Yeah.
Dude, back in the day.
Lentils, anything Abbotsford, man.
Dude, what a spot.
Yeah.
We used to go there and just kick it with hippies, like, for ages, like, and now I went there recently just for, like, you know, to hang out, whatever, just reminisce, and I seen Fruity Lex and he was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, when I seen the lineup, I was like, Fruity Lex, like, I used to drink Fruity Lex, yeah? Remember the goon?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one, that, seeing Fruity Lex in a place that you used to drink Fruity Lex.
Yeah. Yeah, mad nostalgia. But yeah, that was real cool. That was really cool what he's doing. So what else has been doing in your career? Tell us about your career, man.
Oh, man.
Who influenced you?
Who influenced me, man? We could be here all night talking about who influenced me, man. Like, if we're talking music, we're talking, like we mentioned before, Bliss and Esso. That's mainly who we're talking. But then obviously we're talking Dylan Joel. Man, I suppose, like, now that I've said that name, we've got to go into it, huh? So,
yeah,
like,
get into that.
So Dylan Joel, man, like, so right now we are currently located at a mentorship program called New Hope. Shout out to the boys, shout out to Tanner, shout out to Bailey, James, all the boys, Neil. And how I got into being in a mentorship program was through an artist named Dylan Joel. So he was running a program called Write and Record through YMCA at the Doncaster Library at MC Squared. And basically one of my homies told me about it, hooked me up with it, told me to come through, and then that was that, man. I spent the next year and a half every Tuesday afternoon with Dylan Joel learning how to, you know, write bars, make music, be an artist, you know what I'm saying? Not just spit some raps, like be an artist, be able to perform, write, you know, mentor, do all this cool stuff. So like, you know, I wouldn't be the artist that I am today without Dylan Joel. He's someone who, like, I still think, like, not only music, you know, like if we're talking music influences, we're talking Bliss and Esso and Dylan Joel. If we're talking personal influences on who I am as a person, we're also talking Dylan Joel, you know what I'm saying? We're talking my dad, we're talking Dylan Joel, we're talking a few other people. So like, you know, in terms of like when I make decisions and how I treat people, sometimes this thought will just pop in my head like, oh, what would Dylan do? Like, you know, how would he react to this situation? And that's you know, sometimes what I would like to do, because I look up to him and I respect him. And it's been 5 years since that program, but you know, that what he taught me is still embodied.
Yeah, shout out Dylan Joel. I remember he said something like, people like rappers and stuff go in there and they'll write bars like, I'm the hardest, no one can beat me, yada yada yada, like I got the most fire bars, and he'd be like, anyone can do that. Why are you the most fire? Prove it to us, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you'd do it in a way that was like join us, like show us, not like confronting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, straight up. I think one of the best pieces of advice that Dylan ever gave me was like, don't be the rapper that always raps about rap.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, like, look, like, some of the greatest MCs of all time have made their careers off doing that. Most of the Eric B and Rakim catalogue is Rakim talking about how good of a rapper he is. But that's Rakim, that's what I'm saying, you know, like...
He's the god MC.
Exactly, if we're talking about who started that, that's Rakim. So he's the only one in my head that gets a straight pass, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that his whole discography was that, but if it was, I'd still give him a pass.
Isn't that the truth though?
Yeah.
Damn. That was at Doncaster, so is that the area you grew up around?
Yeah, so I grew up in Templestowe, 3106. Oh man, you don't need to ask, you know.
Yeah,
Mav,
just
Mav is just asking me for the
going.
purpose of the podcast, man, but like, you know, we were neighbours pretty much. Mav lived up the road, I lived down the road, 3106 to Templestowe, Pines is a local shopping centre, all that.
Yeah, we used to rock the shopping centre after school like every day and shit. That was just what you did.
Yep.
True? Like,
Getting into a bunch of mischief, man.
Oh,
I won't be going into details about the mischief, but we got into a lot of it.
a lot of it. That was back in the day. The Pines is dead now though, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. The new generations didn't really come through like us at the Pines, did they, right? Like,
Yeah.
there were all the generations before us, you know what I mean? Like, all the homies rocking up in their Subies and their Commodores and their bloody this and that, cruising through, and you know, if you cruise through the back tables in your nice car with your sound system pumping. You were the coolest cat at the Pines.
Isn't that the truth?
Hundy, man. And I remember when I got my car, my license, that was the first thing I did. Because I was like, that's a rite of passage, man. I've got to do that. And I don't even care if there's anyone there. There can just be security and old ladies, all goods. But I'm a cruise to back tables with my music pumping and my car having it.
Yeah. Oh, and there was that one security guy, remember Faisal?
Faisal, shout to Faisal.
Shout out Faisal. Faisal was a G. He was alright. He was actually alright. But he got taken over. Like, he would actually kick it like with the Subies going past. And then he got taken over and started to get a bit whack.
Yeah, well, I will say that one of Faisal's replacements, I don't know if it was straight after him or there was a couple of security guards in between. I shouted to Shane, man. Shane stepped into the role of security guard for the Pine Shopping Centre and he did just as good of a job as Faisal did. The only difference is with Faisal, he was there before us, right? So when we came in, we showed him respect and then he showed it back to us. But with Shane, he was new, so we were already the OGs of the shopping centre when he came in, right? Even though we're only teenagers, you know, we've been there for a few years. We know the people, we know the shop owners, we know the hidey spots, we know who's going to get in trouble, you know, who's playing it cool. So when Shane came, he had to show respect to us, and then we showed it back.
Oh, he got eaten up.
He did. He got eaten up for his first year, yeah.
Dude, holy man. Do you remember that? Oh man. There was kids that were just throwing like bottles at this guy, man. Like plastic ones, like just water, and like he'd just be like, don't do that. And then like they'd be like, oh shit, he actually said something. Like, you know what I mean? We can't be throwing bottles at him, alright? And now he's still there to this day.
Yeah, sure is, man. He gives me one of these ones every time I see him.
Oh, okay.
Respect to Shane, man. Respect.
Dude, you're a Pines vet.
Yeah, you like me, bro.
Fuck, oh. Did you end up working around there ever?
Working around the Pines? Did I ever work at the Pines? No. I think no. I didn't work at the Pines on purpose. Yeah, that was a purposeful thing that I did. Because like, even though I lived, 20-minute walk, same as you.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want that to be like, because that was our hangout, and that was also the place that we got into trouble, and it was also the place that I went to school when I was 16 and 17. So I did not want to work at the Pines, man. Like, no, I wanted to keep it separate.
Yeah, true. You don't want to turn your passion into your work.
No, man, no. I've done that before, but yeah, it always ended badly when I did that. So yeah, except for the jobs I have right now as a youth worker.
Yeah, what was your last job?
As in before the job I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
My last job I got fired from.
What was it?
So I was a gas meter reader before I became a youth worker, and that was possibly the most boring job on the planet. But that came with its pros, right? So like, I'd just be walking along, no worries. You don't have to really see your boss or talk to many people. I had my headphones in almost every day. I was taking phone calls. I was speaking to homies for 40 minutes at a time on the phone, you know what I mean? Getting paid, just walking, listening to my music, maybe rehearsing a rap if there was no one around. So there was way more pros to that job than cons. But unfortunately, the management team were, man, I'm not even going to hold back. Like, I'm going to just say pathetic.
Let it out.
Yeah, man. Like, if there was the opposite to a shout out, what would that be? What do you reckon? Like,
Oh fuck! What do you even call that?
like a negative shout out, you know
What
what
do
I'm
you call
saying?
that?
Like a thumbs down.
I guess it's a fuck you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
True. Well, fuck you, Xavier. You're my team leader, and I really don't like you, man. I still don't like you. And if I seen you in the street, I'm gonna tell you that I didn't like you.
Yeah, fuck you, Xavier. Fuck you. Did that end up inspiring that song though?
I don't want to work.
Yeah. Is that what that's about?
So, a little bit, man. I was doing that job when I wrote that song. Yeah. That was. I don't think I'd met or I was in Xavier's team at that point. I was a meter reader, and I think one of my bosses I didn't like that much. There were a few cool bosses. I had a few cool bosses. Shout out to Daniel. You were a legend, man. I wish I could have kept working for you. But some of your co-workers, nah, bro. That's what I wrote. Don't want to work about.
Whack. Super whack.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude, another day in the area.
Another day in the area, man.
Another day in the area.
Yeah.
Do you remember Warrandyte Festival when you played Warrandyte Festival?
Oh man, Warrandyte Festival.
Dude, it's coming up.
Is it coming up?
It's coming up on the 22nd of March, bro.
Man, I can't miss it. I don't even care if I don't live in the area anymore, man. Warrandyte Festival is like tradition.
Yeah, right?
Tradition, man. Like, I don't honestly think I have many traditions as like as you know, a person who grew up in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. I don't think, you know, there's many things that I hold to like a ritualistic standard or like a tradition standard. But going to Warrandyte Festival every year, that's a tradition, man. That's a ritual.
That is a real ritual too, and all the homies are still going as well. Like, when did we start going? 14, 13.
Something like that,
Younger.
yeah, man. Yeah, I think, well, you would have been a bit younger than me because you lived in Warrandyte. Like, oh, I mean, you only moved to Warrandyte like after the days of the boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, you went to Warrandyte High School, you know what I'm saying? So more of your homies were situated in Warrandyte, whereas more of mine were situated in Templestowe. So you were on that Warrandyte Festival, Warrandyte community, like, spectrum a lot more than I was to begin with.
How'd you go performing there?
Performing at Warrandyte Festival, man, shout out to you, man. You're the one that got me that gig when you were in that position. So I love that, man. We were a bit unprepared, you know. We didn't have all the equipment that we needed to put on the best show possible, but we made do, man. Like, we got some homies in, like, one homie brought the leads, Mav hooked up the speakers and the wireless mic, another homie brought something else, another homie brought something else, you know. It was real makeshift put together, and then to account for the fact that we couldn't put on the best show possible in terms of like a sound system, in terms of volume specifically, we just got everybody to come closer. So basically the crowd started a meter away from where I was performing. So that made do, man. They waved their hands, they got around it.
That was a good day. Yeah, it was mad unorganised too. Yeah, our homies pulled through. They started bringing stuff around.
Real, man, real. And that's actually a funny one for me, man, because like a lot of the time, right, like, especially when I was growing up a bit more, like now I try to give people like a bit more benefit of the doubt and not try to direct negativity towards people. I try to be a lot more conscious of that, but that's something I only learnt recently, and I didn't always have that. And it's funny, like Warrandyte Festival was one of the days where there were some people coming that I didn't exactly like or respect that much, and then they came through and sorted something out for us that we couldn't have done without them. And that made me swallow my pride and go, damn, bro, like, I shouldn't be directing negativity because of my own ego or because of some, you know, pre-learned information that I had that wasn't, you know, it wasn't 100% accurate maybe, or, you know, everybody makes mistakes, nobody's perfect, and I should have taken a step back at the time, and things like that made me take a step back, you know what I mean? When someone you don't like comes into your bubble of energy in your circle and does something to help your bubble and your circle and your energy, it's like, damn, alright, cool, bro, like, respect, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all a part of growing up.
Yeah.
And that's funny as well, that's the Warrandyte Festival magic.
Handy.
Sure.
Handy.
Sure.
I didn't even think of that, man. Hey, like.
What did we do as well after that? The whole crew went to the pub. We ended up drinking beers.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Ah, damn, bro, I didn't even think of that, man. There was always a lot of like drama or, you know, questionable levels of respect and love between people, but we always came together for Warrandyte Festival, and it always put an end to the disrespect and the non-communication, for sure.
Yeah, and Fruity Lex was around before we even got to meet him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. Yeah, Fruity Lex has been a homie in the area for a long time, man.
Yeah. Warrandyte, was it deep? That whole little area, man, that whole little alcove, so much happens on the inside, but from the outside it just looks like a normal little community. But there was a lot going on.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, it's a close-knit community, so that's just what happens.
It was funny as well, like, you'd be driving through Warrandyte and you'd see, like, tags and shit, like, all over the community, and you know each one, like, you know what I mean? Like, there was no one from the outside, it was just everyone, like, right there.
Yeah, for sure. You'll always know, if you're from Warrandyte and you see a tag in Warrandyte, you'll know whose it is.
You'll know, 100%.
Yeah.
100% goes basically without saying.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what was also like a similar to driving to the Pines back tables when you got your car? Driving to the skate park. And driving past the skate park and just like taking an eyeball out the window just to see who's rocking. And if it's your homies, you're pulling in, man, for sure. Even if it's only for a dart and a chat. You know, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah,
Friday on my way home from work, I used to pull into skate park every Friday. And I would kick in a few other homies.
Yeah, skate park life.
Yeah.
Skate park life was real.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Do you remember one time we'd be chilling? Oh, babe, what am I saying? One time, every time, Dean would come down, smoke a ciggy, and then there's this nice little bend that goes up the hill towards where he used to live, and you just hear, you would be talking, and you'd hear, and you'd see the Subi. Off he goes. There's Dean. He's gone. Bye.
See you next Friday.
Yeah, see you next Friday. Every time, dude.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that Subi survived a lot.
Yeah, man. Handy.
Do you remember back in the day when you first got it, you would use the UE boom? Didn't even have the speakers.
Oh, man, that's a little bit embarrassing, eh?
Hey, we've all been there. We've all been there. I'm not gonna go into it, but I used to have to use a UE boom because I didn't have a car when I first got my license, so I'd be rolling in my mum's whip, blasting the UE boom loud as driving past the skate park. That was my manies.
Yeah, man. Bro, that was some cool stuff, man. I had that little blue UE boom. I used to just whack it behind the back seats of my car before I got the stereo system. That was my stereo, man. We bumping.
Hey, it rocked too.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, it rocked. It almost made the Subaru shake. It didn't make the
You had to
Subaru
turn
shake.
it down. If you wanted to talk to your homies in the car, you had to turn it down, bro.
You haven't still got that speaker, have you? I wouldn't be surprised.
I do.
Oh
But it's broken. It doesn't work. I dropped it too many times.
man, it happens. You took it out of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the life over. It
Too
served its purpose.
Too many doughies in the gravel car parks, and then the UE boom would fly out from its holder and hit a window or something Thankfully, it didn't break any of my windows, but I think I broke the UE boom.
Damn, that UE boom is long gone.
Uh-huh.
So how's the day on the life near down Ringwood Way, down in the east?
Yeah, man, it's I'm a lot further east now, eh?
You find a lot more time for yourself to be able to write and stuff?
Definitely, man. Yeah. That's what I wanted, it wasn't out of any kind of musical or career pursuit that I moved out there, but I knew that's something that would come with it once I moved away from, close friends or, things that would take up my time that I wasn't necessarily interested in anymore. I was just doing it out of, maybe out of habit or, something like that. So now that I'm out, I'm further out. Like I was saying before, you really got to start thinking about your priorities, what you're doing, who your homies are sometimes, that's a really good one actually, moving out to a further away place will actually really tell you who your homies are, because the ones that will come see you, they're your homies. The ones who forget, they're not.
How did that affect you, your homies?
I
being able
love
to
it.
differentiate?
Yeah, man.
Because you still got a lot of your day ones.
Handy, yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, look, bro, I love working out who my true friends are, bro. And I don't.
Oh, is that a passion?
That's a passion, bro, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's a passion and a priority, man. I have. If I work out that somebody in my circle is not a close friend, it does not make me sad or upset to cut that person out, because they might feel sad or upset, but at the same time, if you're not my friend, get out of my energy, man. I've got time for everyone. And I don't judge, and I try not to direct negativity towards anyone, that I come across or whatever, but I am very protective of my energy in my circle.
That's a real good one. Energy, keeping your energy, right these days as well is hard, because you can have a mate on social media and they could be 10 times as close as a normal homie, you know what I mean? Someone that you see every day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been seeing more recently, just almost in the rap scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You see rappers and stuff, they go out and they'll shake each other's hand or whatever, and then just walk around, but then they won't even like each other's photos or comment or whatever, or you know what I mean? It just seems I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's just part of the scene. The scene's getting a bit muddled up these days, so it's good to get everyone on here and tell their story so we can get to know you know what I mean?
You know what something like this makes me think of? And to a very, it's probably a bit of a far-stretched metaphor and example, but I expected to sit down with you in this podcast and talk all about music, but I think we've only really spoken about music for, maybe 20% of this so far, this interview. And I really enjoy that you're asking me questions that aren't about music, that's about my personal life or my previous growing up years and whatever, because that's what it's about. And it reminds me a little bit of that song, I think it's called When the Music Stops. It's on the Eminem Show album. And
Yeah.
It's featuring D12, and it's very much about how like people confuse real life when the music stops.
Dude, crazy you mentioned that song. That is my favourite song that Eminem made. And it has D12.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
that is my favourite one.
Yeah, man, 100%. Because that happens all the time, man. People get so caught up in the music, in a rap career, in being an MC and being an artist and this and that they forget that we're all human. You know what I mean? Like we do have a reality outside of writing bars, outside of performing, outside of being our rap persona. You know what I mean? I was Dean long before I was Mythic. And all of my homies had their person who they were before they became rappers, before they got into making music. And I think it's very important to remember that because, a lot of the time hip hop gets muddled up and confused with, how to show respect, how to have a connection with the people around you, a genuine connection where, it's about love. It's not about, you do this for me and I'll do this for you. And if you don't share my stuff, I'm not sharing your stuff. And it's like, that's not what it's about, man. Like, if I grew up with you and you're a homie and I think you're dope, I'm going to share your stuff on my personal Facebook because as a person, I think you're dope. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be about whether Mythic thinks you're dope. Whether Mythic thinks Jinx is dope. For the record, Mythic does think Jinx is dope. But it's more about what Dean thinks, you know what I mean? And that, I think people should remember that because we're humans before we're MCs.
Yeah, and if you meet a rapper or an artist or anyone, you'll almost forget to ask their name. Like, do it. Go up to them and be like, oh, hey, how are you? Like, what's doing? Nice to meet you, whoever. Yada yada. Oh, by the way, what's your real name? It would be nice to actually meet you. You'll see a couple like faces like they'll be like that, or like they'll be like, yeah, dude, like yeah. No one ever asked me that. Like, it's such a weird like separating when the music stops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, 100%. There's a few cool examples I can think of actually that like that song can relate to in real life experiences, right? So the homie I brought up before that I shared some of his wisdom, Komodo. The first time I met him, I walked into the studio. And he was rapping a verse. He was going to lay on one of Caution's songs, and I was featured on that song too. I did the hook, so I walk in, and he finishes doing his rap, and like we spoke about it. He got props, all that, much deserved props. And he looks at me and he goes, "What's up, man? I'm Zach." And I go, "What's up, man? I'm Dean." We shook hands, all goods. Had a vibe, bit of a minute, and then he had to step into the booth to record. And just as he walked out of the control room, he turns around, he gives me a sup nod, and he goes, Komodo. And I go, Mythic. And it was great that we said our personal names, our government names to each other before our artist names, because it means in that moment we connected as humans, not as rappers. And that's far more important.
That's deep. That's like the opposite of Step Brothers. When they meet, you gotta call me Nighthawk. You gotta call me Dragon.
Well, for the record, man, if somebody wanted to call me Dragon, go for it. I'm all about it.
That's kind of hard, isn't it?
It is, man.
Hopefully there's no motherfuckers getting attacked by bikes at your gigs.
Oh man, hopefully not.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. Fuck yeah. So where'd you end up recording that song?
In the building that we're in right now, my friend. So right now we're at a studio. I'm not sure what like there's any copyright or if there's any we're allowed to rap it or we're not allowed to rap it. But I would just say that we're at a youth studio. That a lot of magic is made, and a lot of mentoring is done, and a lot of learning is achieved. So we have a few rehearsal rooms, we have a couple of other things, and we have a mad studio. So yeah, that's
how is it mentoring here for you?
Oh man, it's one of the best things I've ever done, to be honest, man. Like, if you can get very easily caught up in the moving forward of your own person and your own team, and you can very easily forget to reach back and help people come up. So that every time I come to this place to mentor people, that I try and forget about, Mythic and about, Storm EP and my career and what I'm doing, because this is the place where I come now to reach back and to help other homies, join us. Because it's not, I don't want this to be a dog-eat-dog world, you know what I'm saying? And that's a big problem that Melbourne has. And like, I'm sure if you wanted to touch on that in this podcast, we could definitely do that. But that's something that is the grain that I'm trying to work against. So bringing up homies is something that I'm very passionate about. So I love it, man. Yeah.
Is it kind of surreal for you being like the Dylan Joel in someone else's life?
Oh man, that's That's a very interesting question. What's up, Norris? How are you, bro?
Man,
we just got a homie in the rehearsal room.
Shout out Norris.
Shout out Norris, man. Autistics 9 to 5. He's just getting a little clip of us for his own personal record. His own
Yeah, the
personal works.
boys.
Yeah, we share these studios. We have fun here.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of fun here. One day you'll probably see Autistics on the podcast, man, on the Onza podcast. You'll definitely see him up on stage with the boys at some point.
Fuck yeah.
He's
Fuck
he's
yeah,
a
we
sleepy
didn't
talent,
feel it
man.
himself. So what? Touching on the dog eat dog world.
Okay, man. So
Go on, get into it.
look, man. Like, I'm not calling out nobody because, like I said, I don't want to direct negativity towards
Hey, this is
anybody
your
else,
story.
right?
You tell your experiences.
So, what it seems like to me very much in Melbourne and in Australia, I think that possibly if you take Tasmania, Hobart, whatever, Perth, out of the Australian picture, because they're two cities that I find their hip hop communities really support each other. So if you take them out of the picture and you just say Australia without them, it's very dog eat dog world. Like especially in the rap world. In Melbourne, I've obviously never really interacted that much with the Sydney scene. I've never gone to Sydney to rap. One day, 100%, the Mythic tour, we're gonna be there. But from as far as I can tell, Sydney and a few other cities in Australia are very similar to Melbourne in terms of that kind of thing. Like a lot of people in Melbourne will help themselves before they help someone else. And not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, you know what I mean? You've got to be able to learn to help yourself before you help someone else. That's very true. But at the same time, there's food for everybody. We can all eat, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to steal your food to be able to eat. We can both eat. There's plenty of venues. There's music to be made. There's crowds to be played to. We're not running out of food for us all to eat. But yet everybody always seems to want to steal each other's food and leave the plates empty. And it's a bit like, look, like, I'm not trying to diss nobody. I'm just calling it how I see it. And I wish that people could be more supportive in the Melbourne music industry. And I will give a massive shout out to some boys who also talk about this, Drankwater, Tebs, and a few other boys who I notice will speak about this on the regular.
Shout out them.
Shout
We'll
out
get them onto here too one day.
100%.
Keep an eye out.
100%, man. So, yeah, that's actually an idea that, negating the dog eat dog world. That's an idea that I think those boys started working on before I did. So, big love to whoever's got that mindset, because that's what's going to push Melbourne forward, and extension, that's what's going to push Australia forward as a nation and as a musical collective.
Do you find it almost seems like everyone's rushed?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's rushing towards something.
Yeah.
But like they never end up getting there. And then they lose, like, you'll see, like, I don't know, I've seen a couple groups drop off, or like, you know what I mean, they're not really around anymore, like, no one really took their time it's a reputation thing, really, like, if you want to go in the entertainment industry, it's all reputation, you know what I mean? It's like, who's going to work with you? Like, there's only three things, if you agree, it's, you got to have talent, you got to be easy to work with, and you have to be on time.
And you got to have credibility. 4 things. Yeah.
And people forget it.
Yeah. 100%, man. But I suppose, being on time and being professional, that's, those 2 things come under credibility. So, yeah, man, if you want to have those 3 things, 100%, I would agree with that.
Yeah, you got to master your tools.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a job.
Yeah, it is, 100%, man. Yeah, that's what you were saying before, like, what we do is a craft. And to get better at your craft, you have to train.
Yeah, you got to exercise that muscle.
Yeah, 100%, man. Hey, you asked me a question before that we missed, because old mate Knowles walked in. How does it feel to be the Dylan Joel, you asked me, huh?
Yeah, get into that.
Man, first off, I'm going to say that I'm not like the Dylan Joel, because what he did for me, I've so far been unsuccessful at doing for other people. But I'm working on it, and I feel like I'm getting there. And I feel like that he would be happy with the progress that I've made in following his footsteps in that. But to answer the question, how do I feel with walking in his footsteps, to an extent, 100% so good, man. Because like that's what I said before, man. Like Dylan Joel is someone that I didn't only look up to as an artist, I looked up to as a person. So now to be in the position that he's in a mentorship role for young rappers and young artists, that to me is like, oh shit, like I'm doing what Dylan was doing. And that's what I said before, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'll think, what would Dylan do in this situation? That is the thought that comes to my head very, very much when I'm mentoring young people, for sure. But yeah, to answer your question, amazing, bro.
Awesome, dude. I see the smile.
Straight up, bro, for real.
Nice, dude. How old was Dylan? Do you know when he was doing that?
Yeah, so he was the age that I am right now.
You running it. You're doing that, man.
Yeah. So
I'm sure he had no idea what he was doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, all you can do is your best, man. You look like you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can, at some point, you know, like maybe we can get one of the homies on that I mentor to run on the podcast, and maybe you can ask them the question, how did I go from their perspective? Maybe they can give you the answer. I don't want to speak
that's what this is about.
But
yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Yeah. We'll get them down. Hey, they're just outside.
100%, man. Currently, we have one of our young homies, Bailey, in the room with us. He pressed record for us. He's an audience member for us right now. So shout out to him.
Shout out Bailey, bro. Yeah, I was giving you the look.
Yeah.
You might have to jump up one time, bro.
He's a homie that came through, man. He came through and he works hard. He comes in every week with fresh bars, working hard on his craft. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that is going to keep hip hop going in Australia and keep hip hop going in the world. When the young cats step up and work on their craft and take it seriously. Because, you know, look what happened to rock and roll, bro. Rock and roll's, I'm not going to say dead, but it's not the headline anymore, you know what I mean? Like, rock and roll is turning into much more of an underground genre than it used to be, you know what I mean? Rock and roll used to be the main thing, but now it's, what headline of rock and roll have you heard of, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's all Kanye, it's all Lil Pump, it's all, you know, Jay-Z's an old head, obviously, but, you know, he was, the hip-hop era is alive, and it's breathing and it's going forward, and the way that it's going to continue going forward is when the young cats step up and take it seriously and learn the craft.
That's true. It'd be cool to see them come into it as well. I talk about the youngins like I'm an old head already, but like
Yeah,
just going into it with like not an intention to be making money. You know what I mean? Like just for the love, like. That's why we're doing this podcast, just like tell your story, you know what I mean? Like let's share the love. That's what hip hop's about. It's about being inclusive.
Yeah, 100%, man. For sure.
You know what I mean? Like you can't like judge someone else for just trying. Like the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like like that happens. That's the dog eat dog. Is that like kind of what you're talking about? Like
that's a big part.
Yeah, like dude. It's like going into the gym, like, and you're huge, and like you see some skinny guy, and you're like, oh, he can't lift because he's not as big as me. Like, fuck off, bro. You started here too. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's a perfect example, man. Perfect. You know, that big bodybuilder should go up to those youngins and go, yo, that's not how you do it. Watch this. We do it like this. And you know, when they go into a lift, correct the posture, correct the technique. That's what it's all about, man. You can apply that metaphor to every other industry, including rap.
Straight up. What form of rap is your favourite? Like, what do you solely focus on? Are you a one type of sound, or do you like to?
Are we talking when I write music as Mythic, or are we talking about who I listen to?
Both.
Okay, so obviously the answer for both of those questions is I try and be as diverse as possible. Just, you know, for learning, you know what I'm saying? If I only listen to rappers, I'll put the mic back a bit for this. I'm going to end up sounding like this, and all my raps are going to sound the same because I only listen to rappers, and I'm not just going to rap like this, rah, rah. Nah, man. I listen to a bit of Bob Marley. I listen to a bit of Halsey. You know, I listen to a bit of everything, man. Like, I don't mind some rap, I don't mind some pop music. I don't mind a bit of Linkin Park, like all that.
Oh shit! R.I.P. Chester.
R.I.P. Chester, man.
R.I.P. Chester.
I grew up listening to your voice, man. So R.I.P.
Dude, he was a huge part of my growing up.
Yep. For sure, man. Numb, in the end, all that, man. Like,
dude, that was like, that whole like era, punk rock was like us growing up. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know someone that doesn't know that sort of like genre. Before, like, I mean, from a rapper, like any hip hop head that I know knows the punk rock scene. You know what I mean?
Sure,
like, they were all listening to that, and if they say they didn't, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying, 100%. Because you know what? I don't know where I seen this. It was on one of them hip hop documentaries that Netflix did. So like, I don't know if it was Hip Hop Evolution or if it was Rapture or The Get Down. One of the three, I'm pretty sure. The first hip hop audience was a punk rock audience. Before hip hop became a thing, like a mainstream thing, or even something that was taken off in New York or whatever, the first rappers that put on a show, a hip hop show, was a punk rock audience. Because we didn't have no hip hop audience. We just had a couple of rappers, you know what I mean? We had DJ Kool Herc and, you know, Grandmaster Flash and a few others, and that's it, the Burrows. So we needed an audience from another genre to give us the light and give us attention and give us a chance, and that was punk rock.
Word. It's kind of crazy that it's like rippled like that. Like even for us, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you see it like as well with the new genre, like this whole what can I say? The new sound that's coming out in hip hop, where it's like, you know, people are expressing their darker side more, instead of like, oh, you know, I'm hard, like I went through this, so I had to do that to get to here, and like it's like, nah, like I'm feeling this way. It's kind of shit. I hope you can relate. You know what I mean? Which was kind of what punk rock was in a more extreme sense.
Yeah, you're right, bro. Yeah, I agree, definitely. It's a cool thing to see as well, you know, because like, as much as the core of rap has always been about, you know, like, this is what I did, and it was hard, and now I'm here, you know what I mean? Like the struggle was real, and I got through it, you know what I'm saying? That's always going to be the core, and that's always going to cloud the purest form of growth and intention. So it's good that, you know, people can skip the whole macho, you know, I'm so tough, rah, just get straight to the, how you doing, man? You know?
Yeah, because the struggle still is real.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm not going to say it's harder or easier, but like, you know, it's so diverse now because it's been so capitalized on, that there are some sneaky motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to go up to someone who just started and you can see that they've got a loyal base and just be like, oh, I can do this, this, and this for you, but you need to pay me. Like, there's a lot of people looking out to do that, you know what I mean? Like, the struggle is real. It's not like it wasn't before, but like, now people know that, like, it's still back on that dog-eat-dog thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, if we stick together, we can like all kind of work towards like getting over it.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like the spokes on a wheel, man. Like, if you all choose a role or, you know, a thing that you're going to specialize in, and then your homies choose a role that can coincide with, you know, other roles. Or if it's not even your homies, you know, if you go find other people in different roles, it's the spokes of the wheel, you know what I'm saying? Like, a wheel is not gonna roll, it's not gonna spin without the spokes. It's not gonna get you places. So if you can have a team and you're all the different spokes of the wheel will go places, and that's your team, and that's you.
Yeah, hey, this podcast right now, this isn't for everyone. Like, I'm not, like, when I went into this, like, people were like, oh, you gotta do this, like, otherwise people won't listen to it. Like, nah, that's not what it's for. It's for whoever wants to listen. We're just talking hip-hop, and this is for us, you know what I mean? Like, if you like hip-hop, come and talk shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's all it is, like, you know what I mean? Like, we all love it. Like, no one's, if you like knows more or it's harder or whatever, it's just more experience.
Yeah, 100%, bro. That's truth, man. That's real, for sure, man. It's only more experience. That's the only thing that should be on your resume.
Yeah, right. It's literally all it is. And who are you gonna be showing that resume to? You know what I mean? The youngins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only person you need to show, other than like some fucking like super OG, like, you know what I mean, that you're looking to work with. Other than that.
Well, I mean, if your homie asks you for advice, you got to show him something on your resume to make him learn something, of course.
Hey, get the technique, the posture.
Exactly. We're not about that dog-eat-dog world, so that's what it's about, helping everybody out.
That's it, dog-eat-dog world, fuck a dog-eat-dog world. Let's stick together.
Straight up, 100%.
This is the first episode of Onza. Cheers to my boy Mythic.
You're very welcome, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming out.
It's been a pleasure. It's been great to talk to you.
Hey, if you're listening to this and you're in the entertainment industry, hook my boy out. He is well organised. He was here before I was. So, anyway.
2 days in a row.
2 days. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. Cheers for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you very much.
This is the first episode. Hope you enjoyed it. That went pretty well.
That was good, man.
Yeah, that was alright.
Fuck yeah.
Damn, dog! Jeez, way over sketch, mate.
What time is it?
It's fucking 9 o'clock.
Big love to Matt for having me on.
We Onza Entertainment episode 1. Yeah. Never enough. What's good? I'll be grinding for life, but I find I'm declining. The shine in my mind is alive, but it's hiding. Devising decisive advice in my iris. The price is my eyes getting high till I'm blinded. Working so hard, but it's never enough. The only numbers going up is in my negative funds. I'm on a precipice, bros, I need a therapist, but I can't make it cause I'm eating with the devil for lunch. The dark in my mind is designed to deny. It is sparked by the crime, giving eye for an eye. How is it really seen as a surprise when we die? As Gandhi said, we leave the whole world blind. The leaders wanna rip the people off of what we're needing. Because of this we suffer and we never find a reason. There's only so few of us that know for what we're seeking. Never time for sleep, but there's always time for dreaming. Once again, this is Mythic. We Onza Entertainment. Big love to Math. Check, check. I don't wanna end up having nothing to my name. Start working for the man like a puppet in a game. Bring the thunder and the rain and the suffering and pain. I will weather everything without it snuffing out my flame. I feel so bad seeking good people not win. Always come a second to the ones who think they're top shit. We're giving coins and they're giving cash wallets. We're giving change when change is that topic. Raised in the east, that's a fancy place, but it didn't stop me blowing like a hand grenade. I'm on a damn crusade to get more than they gave me. It's not a question, of course I am crazy. We out.